In 2009, a Japanese man held a ceremony to marry the love of his life, only to be given weird looks, ridiculed, and even have one person say that, quote, this was the end of Japan. Yet this man took all this in stride, live streamed his wedding, and even gave multiple interviews talking about his marriage. CNN, BBC, and CBS, all huge news organizations, covered this man's story, and it became something of a bizarre spectacle for many people. But why did a random Japanese man's wedding attract so much attention? Well, it was because he had decided to marry a video game character. On September 3rd, 2009, Konami released a video game on the Nintendo DS named Love Plus. Love Plus was a dating sim where a player would take the place of a fictional high school student and simulate a situation where they could date one of 3 girls. And in Japan, this game became an immediate success. In 1 week, Love Plus sold more than 47,000 copies, and in 1 year even managed to sell around 240,000 copies, which for the niche dating sim market was considered exceptional. But why was Love Plus so successful? Well, one of the reasons was its focus on long-term relationship building. Before Love Plus, dating sims were usually very linear and typically followed a turn-based structure where the player would choose predetermined options at specific points in the game. These decisions would affect the player's in-game relationship, but the progression was often fixed, and games would usually have a specific ending where players could no longer continue their romantic interest. However, with Love Plus, players were able to continually build and have a relationship with characters even past the story's ending. And because of this, Love Plus had essentially no ending. Players for as long as they wanted could interact with their love interest, and on top of this, because of how Love Plus's developers used the DS's features, players were able to interact with their love interest in a level never seen before.
She is the perfect woman, luscious, lovely, devoted, and entirely portable.
Players could have spoken back and forth conversations, set up dates and anniversaries synced to real world time, and even physically touch their partner by using the DS's touchscreen. On top of this, the in-game characters would have their own unique personalities and were able to respond to and remember players' words and actions. With all these features, Love Plus was able to blur the line between game and reality and potentially have players put more importance in the game's relationships rather than real-life relationships. However, this potential eventually became reality as soon after the game's release, a man did just that.
Then he decided to marry her.
On November 22nd, 2009, a man named Sal9000 held a marriage ceremony between himself and Love Plus character Nene Anagasaki. Now this marriage was purely ceremonial as Sal couldn't legally marry a video game character, however, this didn't stop him from going all out. For the wedding, Sal invited his friends, family, hired a DJ, and even brought in a priest to officiate the wedding. At one point, Sal even had wedding toasts where he had another character from Love Plus say a few words about his new wife, and later on he even had a slideshow highlighting very special moments he and Nene had shared together. In this slideshow, he even showed his past video game girlfriends and how he had chosen Nene over all of them. And while there were many more wacky and interesting moments, surprisingly, these moments were only seen by the wedding guests. And this was because Sal had decided to live stream the entire wedding. This livestream was streamed on a Japanese streaming site named Nico Nico Doga and actually gained major traction, having over 3,000 viewers and 7,000 comments. And these viewers had mixed reactions. Some people saw the situation as a joke or even wholeheartedly supported Sal, while others saw the wedding as weird or even as an affront to humanity. However, these negative reactions didn't deter Sal, as after the wedding he started to go on public dates with Nene. While walking around with his DS, Sal would take pictures in front of famous landmarks that he would later share on various social media sites. He even had a honeymoon with Nene in Guam, which sparked false rumors that he had gone there in order to legally marry Nene. However, while the impression from these people was that Sal was a crazed, delusional love-crazed otaku, in actuality, this was not the case. In reality, Sal's relationship seemed to be a bit tongue-in-cheek. While Sal definitely showed that he enjoyed Love Plus and was dedicated to Nene, things like his wedding seemed to have more of a joking tone than a serious one, and this was seen in moments like when he kissed his new bride and his guests started to laugh at the situation. And in an interview with CNN, Sal even stated that, quote, "I understand 100% that this is a game, and I understand I cannot marry Nene physically or legally." To Sal, it seemed like his relationship with Nene was not a full-blown commitment, but just the next step in enjoying the game that he liked. However, while Sal's situation seemed to be a bit more joking, there was someone else who also married an animated character, but he seemed much more in love.
Stephen A. Smith, do you support love between a man and his anime pillow? Oh my God.
In 2010, a South Korean man named Lee Jin-gyu held a marriage between himself and his beloved dakimakura. Dakimakuras are large body pillows that usually have pillow covers that depict anime characters in various poses. These dakimakuras are often seen as something that a stereotypical otaku would have and are often joked about to be husband or wife pillows. However, for Lee Jin-gyu, his relationship with his dakimakura wasn't a joke, and he actually made his dakimakura his wife. Before the wedding ceremony, Jin-gyu would go on dates with his dakimakura, going to restaurants and even amusement parks, and during the whole time would treat the dakimakura like a real person. An example of this was when Jin-gyu would go to restaurants, he would not only get a meal for himself, but also for his dakimakura. And Jin-gyu actually dated his dakimakura for 6 years before deciding that he wanted to marry her. For the wedding, he hired a priest, found a venue, and even had a custom wedding dress made, and during this wedding, when Jin-gyu kissed his new bride, this created a viral picture that stirred up a storm of mixed opinions. However, regardless of all this, Jin-gyu didn't seem to be deterred by people's reactions and seemed to be happy in his relationship. And this was also the case for the man who married famous virtual idol Hatsune Miku. On August 31st, 2007, Japanese music technology company Krypton Future Media released a revolutionary voice synthesizer program named Hatsune Miku. When Miku was first released, her primary feature was to allow users to synthesize singing by inputting lyrics and melodies. However, Miku was unique in that she was one of the first voice synthesizers created with a character attached to her software. The creators of Miku had decided that in order to make a successful product, they not only needed an appealing voice, but an image to match, and they were correct. Because of Miku's depiction, many people became interested in her, and when she was released to the public, people began to produce various songs and share them on various emerging Japanese social media and video sharing sites. Some of these songs quickly became very popular, which in turn made Miku incredibly popular. By September 12, 2007, less than 2 weeks after her release, Miku already had sales totaling around 57,500,000 yen, which after adjusting for inflation was around $450,000 US. And Miku just continued to become even more popular. By 2009, Miku was performing as a hologram in live concerts, and by 2011 was even performing internationally in the US. Because of her popularity, she was able to reach a large and diverse audience and gained hardcore fans that were captivated with her songs and performances, and this included a man named Akihiko Kondo. On November 4, 2018, Akihiko Kondo held a marriage ceremony between himself and Hatsune Miku. And this marriage was very important to him as he spent around 2 million yen, which around that time was around 18,000 USD. For the wedding, Kondo thought of every detail, such as having the wedding bouquets be leeks because leeks were Miku's trademark, and even specifically inviting 39 people because 39 in Japanese was a wordplay of Miku's name. Kondo by all accounts took his wedding with Miku very seriously and was very happy with his relationship. However, he met a lot of backlash and resistance to his marriage. For example, when Kondo looked for a venue for his marriage, the original venue he had planned to use agreed to host the ceremony, but only if Kondo would not make the wedding public. This was because the venue owner believed Kondo's wedding would bother other customers and make them cancel their weddings. On top of this, Kondo's family refused to attend the wedding as they couldn't accept the situation because Miku was not a real woman. And even more on top of this, while some people were supportive of the wedding, many people on the internet who heard about it found the situation weird or even outright hated the situation, with some even sending death threats to Kondo. However, even through all this, Kondo refused to change or end his relationship with Miku and was unwavering in his love. But why was Kondo's love for Miku so strong? Well, it was because of the constant mistreatment and bullying he faced in the past.
苦しい時に、ミクさんに救ってもらったっていうそういう経緯があって自分を救ってくれた人っていう認識なんですよね。
When Kondo had been a teenager, he had dealt with difficulties as he had been constantly rejected by women and bullied for being an otaku. Because of these experiences, he decided that he would never marry a real woman and started to lose all romantic feelings for them. Kondo described this as he could see a woman that was pretty or cute, but he no longer had any heart-fluttering feelings for them. And this was not his only hardship, because as Kondo became older and got a job, he faced even more hardship in his workplace. Kondo after school had gotten a job working as an administrator in middle school. During his time there, he was constantly bullied by two women co-workers where they would constantly ignore him, trash talk about him, and when he would make small mistakes, would yell at him even in front of students. Because of this experience, Kondo at one point suffered a nervous breakdown and had to take a sick leave for depression. During this time, he said that he couldn't sleep or eat well for 6 months and even searched online for a way to end himself. However, during the worst moments of his life, he found out about Hatsune Miku, and because of her song Miracle Paint, he fell in love with her. Because of his love for Miku, Kondo's life changed, and after 2 years of not working, Kondo said that Miku and her songs gave him the will to get back to work and reconnect with society. And for Kondo, as the days went on, both his life and relationship with Miku kept improving, and Kondo started to consider marrying Miku. However, it wasn't until a product named the Gatebox was released that Kondo started to give marriage a serious consideration. In 2017, a company named Vinclu announced the AI assistant program Gatebox. Gatebox was the device that would allow users to interact with animated characters in the form of a small hologram. Users of the Gatebox could have small conversations with the hologram and do things like have the hologram talk about the weather or even have them send the user messages. On top of this, when Gatebox was released, Vinclu had a promotional program where Gatebox owners could marry the character hologram and would even give out unofficial marriage certificates. And Hatsune Miku was one of the characters that could be married. Because of all this, Kondo signed up for this promotional program and started to consider marrying Miku to the point where he even asked her if she would marry him. And Miku responded with quote, "As long as you treat me well." And in all accounts, Kondo very much did. Even after the wedding, Kondo went all out, commissioning a life-size doll of Miku and going on public dates with her. Kondo even took his love even further as he started to become an advocate for people like him that also wanted to marry fictional characters. To this day, Kondo still continues to give talks and interviews about the subject and says that his love for Miku has not changed. And even when the company that made the Gatebox shut down and Kondo can no longer talk to hologram Miku, he has stated that his love for Miku is still as strong as ever. And that's dedication.
Since there's no ending to this game, he says, you can continue this game forever.